Hey there, fantasy owners. LTC Fantasy here. Not sure if you're chiming in watching via YouTube or listening via podcast, but really do appreciate the watch or listen no matter how you're streaming the episode there. Do want to mention we have partnered up with 247clash.com. Link is in the description. It's basically a pools format, player versus player fantasy game that's pretty much made winnable for anyone there. If you do decide to go to the website is www.247clash.com. Again, link is in the description. You'll see at the top of the homepage a how to play button and see how easy it is. It's about a 49-second video, and it really is easy and fun. I've made some cash on it already. If you do decide to sign up and make a deposit, use referral code LTC, as you'll hopefully win some cash, and you'll also support the show at the same time there. Do remember that at this time it is for Canadian residents only. Might change in the future as they grow, but for right now it's for Canadian residents only there. So today is our Week 15 Weekend Ads episode. So we will take a look at this weekend schedule, kind of break it down, and suggest players to hopefully strengthen your fantasy roster as you make the final push in your leagues this week. Some things to note: pretty typical weekend. Light night Friday, only 2 games. Saturday is really heavy, 14 games, so only 4 teams not playing on Saturday. And Sunday light again at 5 games. So we will focus on the Friday and Sunday teams, as those are the lightest nights. We will mention players that do play on Saturday, but also get a game either on Friday or Sunday to get 2-game weekends to hopefully maximize on some games played. So we will cover Boston and New Jersey first, as they play Sunday only this weekend. Then we will cover Pittsburgh, as they're the only team that gets both light nights on Friday and Sunday there. Then we will cover teams that play Friday and Saturday this weekend, and finish off with teams that play Saturday and Sunday. So basically we'll get right into it. Some D-men that only play on Sunday this weekend. Start off in Boston. Look at Matt Grzelcyk. He's owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues. He's playing on that top pairing there. And he has 5 points his last 4 games. And in those 4 games, he's a +7, has 7 shots on goal and 6 blocks. He is kind of hit and miss, but good of late, and should be okay considering how light Sunday is there. Over in New Jersey, look at Ryan Graves. He's owned in 9% of Yahoo leagues. He's playing second pairing there. He currently has 6 points in a 5-game point streak there. That's probably damn near a career high. He's not known for his offense. But in those 5 games, he's also a +10, has 10 shots on goal, 6 hits, and 16 blocks. He's not known for his offense, as I kind of alluded to earlier, but he is getting some of late. He obviously contributes in some other cats, so with it being a light night, might be an okay option for you. Next one is Damon Severson in New Jersey. He's owned in 17% of Yahoo leagues. He's playing second pairing, second power play unit there. And he has 7 points his last 7 games. He's a +5 in those 7 games. Also has 7 blocks. It's obviously down from last year, but he does have the potential to put up points as we've seen last year there. And with it being a light night, he could work out in your favor there. Now some forwards that play on Sunday only. Starting off in Boston again, look at David Krejci. He's a center, owned in 23% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit there. He has 10 points his last 11 games, and also in those 11 games, he's +14, which is huge, 18 shots on goal and 10 blocks. He's been fairly consistent most of the year. You know what you're kind of going to get with Krejci. And on a light night, he'd be valuable in quite a few formats there. Another one in Boston to look at is Taylor Hall. He's listed as a left winger, owned in 56% of Yahoo leagues, playing third line, top power play unit there. He has 3 points his last 7 games, so not the greatest offense, but also has 12 shots on goal and 8 hits in those 7 games. He has been colder of late, but what we do know with Hall is that he can get points in bunches. So if you're in a pinch and down by a bit in the final day of the week there, Hall is going to be a boom or bust. You're either going to love him or hate him. Hopefully he booms for you, unless you're playing me, of course, but hopefully he booms for you, and it could definitely work out in your favor. Another one in Boston's Charlie Coyle. He's listed as a center, owned in only 5% of Yahoo leagues there. He's on the third line, second power play unit, and he has 4 points his last 6 games, so not bad production. Also has 14 shots on goal and 7 blocks in those games. He kind of can be hot and cold, but in a deeper league, and if you're looking for a streamer, definitely an option on a light night. Over in New Jersey, look at Dawson Mercer, listed as center right winger, owned in 20% of Yahoo leagues, playing third line, second power play unit there. He has 6 points his last 5 games, and in those 5 games, he's also a +7 and has thrown 5 hits there. He kind of can be on or off offensively, so to speak, but he is hot of late, and he does kind of get you points in spurts there, get some power play time. With how light Sunday is, it is a viable option for you. Another one in New Jersey is Eric Holla, listed as center left winger, owned in 14% of Yahoo leagues. He's on the second line, second power play unit there, and he has 6 points his last 9 games, with 16 shots on goal, 12 hits, and 8 blocks. He's okay, not great offensively, but he does contribute in other cats, and he will get you points here and there, so depending on how your league is formatted, could be an okay streamer on a light night. Another one in Jersey to look at is Thomas Tatar, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 18% of Yahoo leagues. He plays second line. He's up on that top power play unit in Jersey there, and he has 11 points his last 12 games. And in those 12 games, he's a +8, has 26 shots on goal and 11 hits. He's been good for the last few weeks, really gelling on Hughes' line there, and he could be a very nice option for you on a light night. Before we do get into the next segment, do want to ask, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so, as we're trying to grow this channel. Hopefully you're getting value out of these episodes and getting some wins in your leagues there, and that's kind of my own personal plug, and we'll move along here. Now, some Pittsburgh defensemen and forwards, as they're the only team this weekend that get both light nights on Friday and Sunday there, so these streamers will be fairly valuable. As I mentioned, you get both light nights. On the back end, possibly look at Jeff Petrie. He's owned in 49% of Yahoo leagues. He did practice on Monday, so he is getting really close. He was wearing a non-contact jersey, but he obviously is getting closer, might be ready for this weekend. So do check on his status. If he does come back, we know he's going to log a lot of minutes, get some power play time. Could be a sneaky streamer for you. Another one to consider in Pittsburgh's Ty Smith, owned in 5% of Yahoo leagues, currently listed on the third pairing, but on the top power play unit. He has 3 points the last 6 games with 21 shots on goal and 13 hits. With Smith, it's really dependent on Petrie and Letang's status there. Letang, we really don't know what's happening, if he's still injured or if he has recovered from the injury, still on leave because of his father's passing. Unfortunate. So depending on how Petrie and Letang's status are, really will dictate how much value Smith has for you as a streamer. Up front, look at Ricard Raquel, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 59% of Yahoo leagues. He's on the second line, top power play unit there. He has 5 points his last 4 games. 2 of those points being on the power play, with 16 shots on goal, 5 hits, and 3 blocks. He's been really good of late, and with both light nights this weekend, should be a fairly solid option for you. Another one to consider is Jason Zucker, listed as a left winger, owned in 24% of Yahoo leagues, playing that second line in Pittsburgh's second power play unit there, and he has 5 points his last 5 games with 9 shots on goal, throws the body a lot, 20 hits in the last 5 games. He has been on and off, but could be a nice option for this weekend, especially in a Cats league, because he does throw the body around. The offense kind of comes and goes. But you got to remember, he is playing with Malkin and Raquel there, so, and getting both light nights. Kind of like the chances of him having some value, at least, anyways. Next one is Brian Rust, listed as a right winger, owned in 56% of Yahoo leagues. He plays on the top line and second power play unit. He has 8 points his last 12 games with 32 shots on goal and 14 hits. He's been okay for a while now. He had a real horrible start, but he's been picking it up. Not quite the scoring pace that we've seen in recent years, but a really good pace as a streamer there. So with both light nights, I really do like the chances that you do squeeze some value out of them. Now we'll move along to some defensemen that play both on Friday and Saturday there. Start off in Colorado. Look at Samuel Girard. He's owned in 9% of Yahoo leagues. He plays on the second pairing, second power play unit. He has points in 5 of the last 6 games with 5 hits and 6 blocks in there. He can be very streaky, but he is getting points of late there, especially points in 5 of 6. So in a deeper league, he should be an okay option. Another one to consider is Brad Hunt in Colorado. 0% owned, available everywhere. Plays on the third pairing there. He has 3 points the last 5 games and is +5 in those 5 games there. It is a bit of a stretch play, but with Hunt, got to remember, when he's in Vancouver there, he had little spells where he got some points. He did that in Edmonton, Minnesota, etc. He kind of disappears. He spends a lot of time in the press box. But if he is in the lineup, there's little pockets where he'll be valuable. So if it's in a real deep league, might be an okay option if he is dressing. Over in Ottawa, look at Jake Sanderson, owned in 30% of Yahoo leagues, plays second pairing, second power play unit there. He has 4 points the last 9 games, and of those points, 2 of them have been on the power play, 13 shots on goal and 13 blocks. He gets you nice block numbers, fairly okay shots on goal. Offense kind of comes and goes. It's been there a little bit of late, almost at half point per game over the last 9 there. So depending how your league is formatted and how deep it is, could be an okay option. Over in Vancouver, look at Oliver Ekman-Larsson, owned in 12% of Yahoo leagues. Plays second pairing, second power play unit there. He has 4 points the last 6 games, and in those 6 games also has 7 blocks. Can be a little bit streaky, but for this weekend in a deep league, could work in your favor potentially there anyways. Another one in Vancouver is Luke Shen, owned in 53% of Yahoo leagues, plays top pairing. He has 4 points the last 5 games, not known for his offense, but in those 5 games also 29 hits and 4 blocks in there. Hits and blocks is obviously where his value is. Any offense would be considered a bonus. He is getting some of late, do remember that, so he'll be really good if you can get him in a Cats league and if he's available. Now we'll move along to some forwards that play both Friday and Saturday. Start off in Colorado again. Look at Arturi Lehkonen, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 58% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the top line, top power play unit there, and he has 7 points his last 7 games. And in those 7 games, he's also +5. Chipped in a couple power play points there, 16 shots on goal, 16 hits, 4 blocks. His offense seems to come in bunches, but he does contribute in those other Cats. Be a really nice streamer for you if he is available. Another one to look at in Colorado is Evan Rodriguez, listed as center, left winger, and right winger, up to 19% owned now. He's on the top line, top power play unit, and he currently has 12 points in a 9-game point streak there, so really hot of late. +7, 3 power play points in those 9 games, 26 shots on goal. He's flying right now, playing with McKinnon, and if he is available, definitely grab him, because you're going to get some value out of him with 2 games this weekend. Another one to consider in Colorado is Alex Newhook, listed as center, left winger, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues. Plays second line, second power play unit there. He has 4 points the last 6 games. Also has 6 hits in those 6 games. He really is streaky, so there definitely is risk involved with Newhook. But if you're in a pinch, and in a real deep league, could be an option for you. Over in Vancouver, look at Andrei Kuzmenko, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 44% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the top line, second power play unit, and he has 12 points in the last 12 games played there. He definitely gets you points. There's no denying that. So if you're in a scoring league, need somebody to stream this weekend, you should be able to get some value with 2 games this weekend. Another one in Vancouver is Brock Besser, listed as a right winger, owned in 44% of Yahoo leagues. He's playing on the top line and top power play unit there. He has 9 points the last 10 games, and in those 10 games, he's also a +5, has 20 shots on goal and 5 blocks. It's been fairly consistent for a few weeks now. You do know from past that Besser does have some talent, and with a couple of games this weekend, could be an alright option for you. Last one in Vancouver is Connor Garland, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 7% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit there. He has 7 points his last 11 games, and in those 11 games, he's also has 24 shots on goal and thrown 10 hits in there. He's okay, not great, but kind of a steady Eddie, so more of a deeper league play. If you are in a deep league and the options are a little bit limited there, Garland should be okay value for you. We'll move along to some defensemen now that play on both Saturday and Sunday. First one, Shane Gostisbehere from Arizona there, owned in 64% of Yahoo leagues, playing top pairing, top power play unit. He has 5 points the last 12 games, so about half point per game, decent anyways. 25 shots on goal in those 12 games with 14 hits and 21 blocks. His offense has dried up a bit of late, still close to half point per game, but he is getting you those blocks and hits that he didn't get you earlier in his career. So depending how your league is formatted and if he is available, an alright option there. Another one to consider is Seth Jones over in Chicago, owned in 51% of Yahoo leagues. He's playing top pairing, top power play unit there. He has 6 points the last 5 games, and in those 5 games, 3 of those points are on the power play, 13 shots on goal, 9 hits, and 6 blocks. It's obviously an off year for him, but the last little bit we've seen glimpses of what we've seen in the past for him, so potentially could turn out to be a very good streamer this weekend. Over in LA, look at Sean Durzi, owned in 39% of Yahoo leagues. He plays second pairing, second power play unit there. He has 3 points the last 5 games with 13 shots on goal and 13 blocks. Overall, he has okay numbers. He does have offensive upside there, so depending on the formatting of your league, should be a decent option. Another one to consider in LA is Matt Roy, owned in 12% of Yahoo leagues. He plays on that second pairing there. He has 3 points the last 5 games, and in those 5 games, he has 7 hits and 13 blocks. His offense is streaky, but he does get you really good hits and block numbers there. So depending in certain formats, could be an alright option. Over in Philly, look at Cam York. He's owned in 3% of Yahoo leagues. He's on the top pairing, top power play unit right now. He's been pointless the last 5 games, but before that he put up 6 points in a 7-game stretch. So he obviously does have talent, has some offensive upside, but is streaky there. So in a deep league where he's more likely available, only 3% owned, that's where you're probably going to get some value out of him. Over in San Jose, look at Matt Benning, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, playing second pairing, second power play unit in San Jose there, and he has 6 points his last 8 games, and in those 8 games he has 13 hits and 12 blocks. He's been fairly solid. He's been sneaky good for a while now, and should be a pretty good option getting 2 games this weekend. Over in Vegas, possibly look at Brayden McNabb, owned in 32% of Yahoo leagues. He plays on the second pairing there. He has 4 points the last 9 games, so almost half point per game there. And in those 9 games, he has 24 hits, 24 blocks. Obviously, his value is in the hits and blocks department. Any offense you get out of McNabb is purely a bonus, but he has been chipping in a little bit of late. You're looking at him more as a hit and blocks play. So should be a fairly good streamer in a Cats league for you. Over in Winnipeg, look at Neil Pionk. He's owned in 52% of Yahoo leagues, playing second pairing, second power play unit there. He has 5 points the last 8 games, with 16 shots on goal, 18 hits, and 10 blocks. After disappearing for what seemed like forever, he's starting to get some points of late. He's been contributing in hits and block shots on goal and that. So there's a little bit of risk if he falls off the face of the earth again offensively. But he does get you points in the past. He's shown us he can. So could be an alright option. Another one in Winnipeg's Dylan DeMello, owned in 4% of Yahoo leagues, playing top pairing in Winnipeg there. He has 4 points his last 5 games, and in those 5 games, he has 12 hits and 3 blocks in there. Value obviously is in hits and blocks with him, similar to McNabb and Shen in Vancouver, etc. there. He gets occasional offense, but don't count on it. He would be okay for a Cats league there. Finisher off with some forwards that played both Saturday and Sunday. Started off in Arizona. Look at Nick Schmaltz, listed as center right winger, owned in 19% of Yahoo leagues there. Plays top line, top power play unit, and he has 8 points his last 10 games. 3 of those points being on the power play and 22 shots on goal. He's been pretty consistent, and he should be good in a scoring league as a streamer for this weekend there. Another one in Arizona is Barrett Hayton, listed as a center, owned in 3% of Yahoo leagues, playing top line. Have seen him listed on the third line on one site, another site top line. We'll go with top line, top power play unit there, and he has 9 points over the last 10 games there, with 25 shots on goal, 12 hits, and 7 blocks. His offense has been on and off, but been really turning it on of late. So if you're in a deeper league, could get some value out of Hayton there. Another one in Arizona is Lawson Krause, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 14% of Yahoo leagues. He plays on the second line, second power play unit there. He has 7 points the last 11 games, with 22 shots on goal, thrown 30 hits in those 11 games and 9 blocks. Overall, it looks okay for him, but he is very sporadic offensively there, so kind of a risk-reward kind of a play, but an option for you streaming this weekend with a couple of games. Over in Chicago, possibly look at Max Domi, listed as center, left winger, and right winger. Do like that he's any forward slot, especially with how heavy Saturday is there. Owned in 21% of Yahoo leagues, playing top line, top power play unit there. And he has 6 points over his last 5 games, so over a point per game, 15 shots on goal in those 5 games. His offense is somewhat consistent, especially of late there, so it should be a decent play in a scoring league. Another one in Chicago is Jonathan Taves, listed as a center, down to 10% owned, playing second line, top power play unit there. He has 4 points his last 4 games, 50 face-off wins in those 4 games there. That's insane amount of face-off games. Face-off wins is big value. His offense is really hot and cold. He goes in had a really nice scoring streak. I think 7 games earlier got cold, then got hot again for a few games cold. Now he's back hot again, 4 points over the last 4, so potentially could be an alright option, especially in certain formats that count face-off wins. Over in LA, look at Victor Arvidsson, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 29% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit there, and he has 9 points his last 9 games, with 22 shots on goal and 6 blocks in those 9 games. He's been pretty good all year and should be a fairly solid streamer in most formats there. Another one in LA is Phillip Danault, listed as a center, owned in 34% of Yahoo leagues. He's on the second line, second power play unit there, and he has 12 points his last 12 games, getting 3 of those points on the power play there, 22 shots on goal, 11 blocks in those 12 games. That's a lot of blocks for a forward there. He's been good for a while and should be a very good option for you for this weekend, getting 2 games in. Another one in LA is Gabriel Velarde, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 30% of Yahoo leagues there, playing third line, top power play unit there, and he currently has 6 points in the midst of a 4-game point streak, 2 of those points being on the power play. He's been having a pretty good year overall, and you should get good value if you decide to stream him this weekend. Over in Philly, look at Owen Tippett, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 8% of Yahoo leagues. He's on the top line, second power play unit, and he has 8 points over his last 9 games, with 27 shots on goal and 4 blocks in there. He's been pretty good since moving up to the top line there. Been there for a few weeks and should be decent, especially in deeper leagues for you. Another one in Philly's Joel Farabee, listed as center left winger, owned in 4% of Yahoo leagues. He's playing second line, second power play unit there, and he has 7 points his last 7 games, with 11 shots on goal and 4 blocks in there. He's been decent for a bit here and should get decent value if you decide to stream him this weekend. Another one in Philly, Scott Lawton, listed as center left winger, owned in 22% of Yahoo leagues, playing third line, second power play unit. And listen to this stat line, 12 points over the last 10 games. He's a +9, has 4 power play points, 19 shots on goal, 18 hits, 7 blocks. You got quite a bit of everything with him and should be a fairly solid streamer if he's available in your league. Another one in Philly's Kevin Hayes, listed as a center, owned in 27% of Yahoo leagues. He's on the third line, top power play unit there, and he has 7 points over his last 7 games. And in those 7 games, he's a +5. Also fires a lot of pucks on net, 22 shots on goal. He's been hot, and overall he's had a fairly nice season. He did have a little bit of a cold spell in the middle there, but overall pretty good, and you should get solid value out of him if you stream him. Over in San Jose, look at Logan Couture, listed as a center, owned in 47% of Yahoo leagues. He's on the second line, top power play unit there, and he has 7 points over his last 10 games. 3 of those points being on the power play, 23 shots on goal, 11 hits, and 12 blocks. With him, you get a bit of everything there. He'll be an excellent streamer for you in a Cats league if he is available. Another one in San Jose's Alexander Barabanov, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 5% of Yahoo leagues. He's on the second line, top power play unit. He has 6 points his last 8 games, so decent production, 13 shots on goal and 4 blocks. He can tend to be a little bit streaky. With streakiness comes a little bit of risk, but should be okay in some formats. Over in Vegas, look at Phil Kessel, listed as a right winger, owned in 4% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit. And he has 4 points over his last 5 games, 10 shots on goal in those 5 games there. He is really streaky, but should mention it since he's had decent production for about a week and a half here. He would need to be in a real deep league before I would take my chances on him. But if you're in a pinch and again in a real deep league, could be an option for you. Another one in Vegas is William Karlsson, listed as center left winger, owned in 27% of Yahoo leagues. He's on the second line, second power play unit there, and he has 8 points his last 12 games. 3 of those points being on the power play and 16 shots on goal there. He's okay, not great overall there, so in a deeper league, he should be an alright option for you. Over in Winnipeg, look at Blake Wheeler. He's listed as a right winger, owned in 56% of Yahoo leagues. He's on the second line, second power play unit. He's put up 4 points his last 4 games. In those 4 games, he's +4, also has 8 shots on goal. Overall, he's solid season when he's been healthy. He missed some time there. But overall, he has been fairly solid, and he should be a good streamer for you this weekend. Last one in Winnipeg's Cole Perfetti, listed as center, left winger, and right winger. Do like Domi that you can slot him anywhere in your forward lineups with playing on Saturday there where it's pretty heavy. He's only owned in 31% of Yahoo leagues. He's on the second line, second power play unit for the Jets there. He has 6 points his last 4 games, and in those 4 games, he's also +6 and has 7 shots on goal. He's really hot of late, and with the hotness and the versatility of all forward slots that you can put him in, should get value if you do decide to stream him there. That's it for today's episode. If you're watching via YouTube, remember to hit like, hit subscribe, remember that notification bell. If you're listening via podcast, remember to hit that heart, hit follow, hit subscribe, depending what platform you're listening on. Do remember to check out www.247clash.com. If you do decide to sign up and make a deposit, remember to use referral code LTC, and we'll be out in a bit with another episode. And good luck there, fantasy owners. Hope you get the wins.